Hello, welcome back to my Casio if you're a sub. I'm Ben, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at 10 watches from movies and TV that you may have overlooked. Before we get into it then, do a quick wristwatch check. I am wearing the Christopher Ward C65 Anthropocene. I've swapped it over to the all black strap, and actually I'm really loving how it looks on this. So the first watch on our list comes from one of my favourite comedies, which is Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and this is the Luminox Navy Seal Colour Mark chronograph that Terry Crews wears in the show. It's a watch that looks both great in formal and casual settings, which is fairly essential for a sergeant in the NYPD. Terry Crews is a pretty big guy. He's very muscular, so the 44mm case fits his wrist absolutely perfectly. It's a quartz watch. It's got 200 meters of water resistance. It's also highly shockproof. The watch actually also features tritium crystals for the lume, so you know that it's not going to be letting you down anytime soon. For those who don't know what tritium lume are, it's a radioactive compound that literally glows on the wrist. It is safer to use nowadays than it was back in the 60s, but it is cool nevertheless. Our next character from our next film is Demetrios from Casino Royale. Whilst an obvious choice here would be to go with what Daniel Craig is wearing throughout the films, I find this watch is certainly overlooked. I think the casting of this Omega constellation perfectly fits the character. As M describes him, he is a slippery bugger. However, there is a sort of refinement in the character. After all, he is the gentleman who James Bond wins his DB5 from. Third up on our list then, and another entry into the world of Bond. It comes from CIA agent Felix Leiter. So with this one, I really enjoy the fact that you have, on one side of things, you have James Bond, who is the British agent, who wears a very sleek European timepiece, whereas on the other hand you have the American agent wearing an American timepiece. I think that's a really good call, because it'd be quite unlikely that a CIA agent and a British MI6 agent would be issued the same watches. This is not the only reason why I think this is a fantastic casting by the producers, but it also serves as a throwback to Roger Moore, who wears the Hamilton Pulsar P2 LED watch, which was the first digital watch ever made. The watch featured here in Quantum is the Hamilton X-Wind Automatic. So for those unfamiliar with the Expendables franchise of movies, it basically sees the hardest, toughest action stars all in one movie on a suicide mission with a ridiculous amount of guns and explosions. So naturally you would not expect Sylvester Stallone to be wearing a haute horology piece worth £125,000. However, this Richard Mille makes more sense than you would think. The 50mm titanium case that's a whopping 17mm thick is an absolute beast, but fits his wrist perfectly. It has a 50-hour power reserve, it's 300 meters water resistant, but it also features a flyback chronograph, a 60-minute countdown, a 12-hour totalizer, as well as an annual calendar. Our next watch on the list is another hard-ass man's man who never messes around, and that is, of course, Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreations. It's quite easy to overlook this Citizen Eco Drive that Nick Offerman wears throughout the show. It's a solar power workhorse. It also features a flyback chronograph, 200 meters water resistance, an anti-reflective mineral crystal, and the Eco Drive movement. They go forever and ever, really. I had a Citizen Nighthawk, and it honestly spent about 4 months in a drawer, and I took it out and it was ticking away perfectly. So Ghostbusters is an absolutely iconic movie, and it features a rather iconic watch too. This is the Seiko M516. It's worn by Dan Aykroyd. This digital watch actually features a voice recorder, which is sort of perfect when you're tracking down the paranormal. It totally matches the wacky 80s aesthetic of the movie, and in my opinion, it's so much better than them just slapping a Casio on his wrist. Nothing against Casios, you know how much I love my Casios, but I think it's just a bit of a smarter choice. Next up on our list, we are going from the oldest film on the list to the most recent. We have the British gangster film, The Gentleman. Although it is super un-PC, I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's a welcome return to solid British gangster movies for Guy Ritchie, rather than the sort of Cockney Robin Hood film that David Beckham appeared in. And there are a myriad of fantastic watches, in particularly Rolexes and vintage Rolexes. For me, there's one watch that stands out, however, and that is the Rolex Day Date, with an onyx dial on the president bracelet that Charlie Hunnam's character Ray wears throughout the film. It's an absolutely fantastic watch, and this genuinely is my favourite vintage Rolex. I would very much like to have one in the future, but he does also get bonus points from wearing the same glasses as me throughout the film. Some more vintage Rolex love can also be seen in the movie Crazy Stupid Love, where we see Ryan Gosling sporting a rather beautiful Rolex bubbleback. This is probably one of the more well-known features on the list, and no one really knows which reference it is in the movie. Gosling's known for being a watch guy, so I would not be surprised if this was from his personal collection. Or a rather stunning vintage Omega in the film La La Land, and he's also very well known for his 34mm. He is also very well known for his 34mm vintage Air King that he wears a lot. The bubbleback is a great casting, whoever put it in there, and especially for his character and the personality he has. I really look forward to what Ryan Gosling wears in the future. I wanted to talk about the celebrity chef and part of the Fab Five. It is, of course, Anthony from Queer Eye. Along with being the food and wine expert on the show, I think it's fair to say that Anthony often has the best wrist game as well. He's often seen wearing his vintage Omega Constellation that has quite a lot of sentimental value to him, or his Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon. However, the watch that really catches my eye that he's been wearing in some more recent appearances, as well as some of the red carpet appearances, is his gold Speedmaster that was released last year to commemorate the Apollo 11 mission. The watch is a 50th anniversary to the watches gifted to the astronauts 4 months after the mission at a hosted dinner, along with the 18-karat gold moonshine finish, which is supposedly slightly paler than yellow gold but holds its shine and its colour for longer. It features a tiny rock from the actual moon in the case back. Rounding out our list of top 10 watches in movie and TV you may have missed, we have The Big Short. I actually only noticed this a few days ago when me and my girlfriend watched the film again. The film centres around Wall Street bankers, so it is absolutely no surprise that there are some fantastic watches. Favourite is actually not the Submariner that Steve Carell wears throughout the film, but it's the vintage Rolex Oyster Quartz that the character Vinny wears. So the film is based on a true story, and I'm not sure if the real life Vinny wore an oyster quartz. To me, either way, it's a superb casting. It's such a unique timepiece, and you just know that whoever put this in the movie is a certified watch lover. It's also quite a good throwback to the sort of late 70s, early 80s kind of heyday that Wall Street banking had. So there we have my top 10 watches from TV and movies that you may have missed. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If there's any that I've missed out, please do let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe. And we will see you in the next video. Thank you.